Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, we're taking you to Fort Worth, Texas. Just last night, a random killing taking the life of a sophomore at Texas Christian University. This guy goes up to this other guy and is alleged to have said, "Do you know something about my father's shooting that happened over here?" Boom, boom. And then he does that to this young man. And the killer, the alleged killer, he does admit to this. He is also a young person. Two lives. For whatever reason, this guy did the unthinkable. We're going to go ahead and dive into what we know at this time. Rest in peace. Excuse me. Rest in peace, Wes Smith, taken from this world way too soon. This young man played for the TCU football team his freshman year. He had a whole life ahead of him. Very young man. Out and about 1 a.m. in the morning, Friday morning at 1 a.m., which is, if you're in college, Thursday through Saturday is generally where their partying begins. Well, Wes goes out, hangs out with some friends, and let me tell you, people talk amazing about Wes Smith. Rest in peace. He's out there hanging out over in the West 7th District in Fort Worth, Texas. Now, the West 7th District, this is a shopping area, dining area, entertainment destination where a lot of people go to. And West 7th encompasses nearly 5 city blocks of a lot of boutique shopping and a whole different bunch of stuff that you can do, including they have lofts there where people live and stay right there at West 7th. Now, this type of crime, this is not normal there at in the TCU Christian University area. But this random shooting takes place right there. And the cops say that the suspect did confess that he'd have kill more people if he'd had more bullets. And so this guy lost it. Now, this star student at Texas Christian University, he was shot and killed in this random attack outside a bar in the early hours of Friday morning, with the accused killer telling police that he shot him in the head to make sure he was dead. And the affidavit does show that this guy is been arrested, and now we wait to see what happens next. And so you can see the warrant of arrest and signed by the magistrate, Matthew DeKenneth Purdy Jr. It does say black male, date of birth 11/16/2001. This is a young man as well. Why? I don't know if something actually did happen to his father. This is a developing story. You can see that a bond of $500,000 has been set by the judge. And this literally, as you can tell, as the time of this is September 2nd. This happened yesterday. Now, Wes Smith, he's from Germantown, Tennessee. And he was outside the Your Mom's House bar in the West 7th District of Fort Worth when Matthew Purdy, who is the alleged killer, goes up to him and, according to witnesses, asks about something along the lines of, "Do you know something about my father's shooting?" Now, Wes Smith, only 21 years old, right? He's not out there doing a bunch of crazy things, not the way people are describing him. This guy led a lot of prayers, a lot of services. This guy was all in with living the right life. Now, sure, he's a young man. Young men make mistakes, so I'm not saying this is a perfect kid by any means, but cops said that Matthew Purdy, he spoke briefly to Smith and then opens fire, shooting him in the shoulder and stomach. And then, as Smith fell to the sidewalk, Purdy shoots him in the head to make sure that he is dead. Now, that does not sound like someone who is all there. Two people who were nearby and witnesses the murder, they ran from the scene and they were chased by Purdy, who hit the woman running away in the back of the head with the gun. So this does not at all look like it was actually targeted towards towards Mr. Smith by any means. This guy just randomly attacks. Purdy, he was arrested soon after. They pat him down. They put him in the patrol car. Now, cops then say, a short while later, they notice some movement with this guy. They find that he still had the handgun on him. He was trying to take it apart. He throws pieces of it out of the car when the officer opened the door to check on him. How did he get this gun in there? Well, they believe that he hid the 9mm gun in his crotch, which also tells me if there's a shooting, how did they not check there? I'm a little lost how he got in the car and was not searched to the point where they're like, you have a gun somewhere, we're checking everywhere. Now, I watch OP Live basically all the time. I'm catching up on all the shows. They literally will dig into a person's nutsack to make sure you have nothing in there. How did this guy have this 9mm gun in his crotch after they know? Because they find video of him walking up to Smith and doing the unthinkable. And Purdy tells police that he would have killed the woman if he had not run out of bullets. That's what he says, according to the affidavit. Now, Purdy, he told police that he shot Smith in the head because he wanted to make sure he was dead. He was unable to explain why he would do such an act to Smith, and the two are not believed to have known each other, which is why this definitely seems like it's a random attack. Now, Purdy, he was already on probation in Tarrant County, which encompasses North Fort Worth, after pleading guilty to aggravated robbery last year. And so he's currently in jail, held on a $500,000 bond. Please tell me in the comments why he would get a bond. Is it because they don't believe he can afford that? He has no means of getting that type of money? Like, why? If you are capable of just going up to someone randomly and taking their life, how could this guy be even remotely allowed to almost be on the streets if he could come up with, what is it, 10% of that? Now, Wes Smith's friends and family, they spoke of this devastating loss because they are at a loss at how someone can do such a senseless killing, which I don't blame them. How could anyone do such a thing? And so they were describing who this guy is. Now, you go into Wes Smith, there's a little history that can go into a little red flags, and I'm sure a lot of this is going to come out. We're only hearing about this right now, right? We're only hearing about this. This just happened. And so his friends and family, and you can see where people even left roses on the side of the road for him where this occurred. And, this is a heartbreaking story, so I can understand why a lot of people would dive into this and share their condolences and leave flowers left in tribute to Wes Smith, again, who was murdered Friday morning. And you look at this, this young man went to St. George Independent School. And even they shared about him. They even put out a post, a bulletin, a note, and talking about how today has been a day of mourning and remembrance for our friend Wes Smith. As St. George's graduate of the class of 2021, he was tragically killed last night in Fort Worth, Texas, where he was a junior at Texas Christian University. I thought he was a sophomore because they said last year he competed as a freshman. So I'm a little lost there, but this is what happens when things first come out. So my apologies to the family because I know one of them, I said sophomore. Now we're reading that he was a junior. So we're going to go with what they're sharing right now, that he was a junior at Texas Christian University. And as they shared, he was a courageous and kind young man, known for his servant's heart. There are no words to adequately convey what Wes and his entire family mean to St. George's. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can easily see how much he was loved. And they literally continue to share. He was majoring in finance at TCU. He was a member of the Kappa Sigma fraternity, and he had played for the Horned Frogs football team in his freshman year. So maybe that was 2 years ago, and that was the only time that he played. He even coached football. And one parent even shared on Twitter how this was a big deal and how much he was sad to see this. And again, a lot of people are broken up. You can see where Tank Carter shares, it deeply saddens me to see a young man go so soon. So much to experience and a fire to make it great. Watching Wes coach my son in the eighth grade, his energy and excitement during games was a real treat to watch. Prayers for his family during this tough time. A- If you've been following my channel, you know that I coach a lot of kids. And this story hit me hard because as a coach, I coached a girl who was an alumni to us now who goes to that school. But what hits me even harder is that her younger sister plays for our team now. And she said, we're going to visit her this weekend, Labor Day weekend. This is Labor Day weekend here in the US. And she told me that they are going to visit this weekend and they're going to a TCU football game. So when I read this story, it hits me hard because obviously I'm brought back of all, my kids. And then I read this and he's talking about how when Wes coached his son and then Wes being a coach, this hits me, right? Because I'm a coach. I coach over 40 kids. And part of that is help watching these kids grow. And Wes was all about watching these kids grow because this guy says right here, watching Wes coach my son in the eighth grade, his energy and excitement during games was a real treat to watch. Wes was obviously a great person. And see, that's why I do this channel, because this is not about me. This is about the victims, being a voice for the victims. And now we have to get justice for Wes Smith, taken from this world way too soon. Why would this guy do such a thing? And when you think about it, yes, I want to be a voice for the victims, but I also want to keep you aware of what could go wrong in this crazy world we live in. My friends, if this sounds like something that you would like to follow, please hit that subscribe button. And if you got some value out of this video, click the like because that's going to tell YouTube there's value. Show it to more people. Wes Smith, random shooting, shot 3 times, and the third time was in the back of the head to make sure that he was dead. This guy who did this, to me, is a lunatic. He confessed to this. There's video of him doing it. Right now, he doesn't look to stand a chance. Why did they give him bail? That part I do not, or at least the option for bail. Now, as I shared, he also coached football, which included the team of the mayor's son. Now, Matty Parker, the mayor of Fort Worth, he said on Friday, which was yesterday of this video, that Smith was a remarkable young man. And as I shared with you, he attended St. George's Independent School in Memphis, Tennessee, where he was the student body president and a prefect of athletics. And a prefect is someone who kind of overlooks what is going on when it comes to kind of behavior. It's really a leadership role. He even excelled at lacrosse, basketball, and football. In December of 2020, he was named Defensive Player of the Year for Tennessee's Division II school. Now, Timothy Gibson, who is the head of the school, shared that I was truly shocked by violence for a young man who truly cared so much for everyone. Now, Smith, he graduated from that school in 2021. And he was even a star on the basketball court, as you can even see him here with his parents. And he loved sports. He loved coaching. In a letter to staff and parents, Mr. Gibson said that Smith excelled in every way as a scholar, an athlete, and a leader. And he continues, Wes was always a leader who made everyone around him better. Now, the Smith family, they even paid tribute to his life, and they share that Wes was truly an amazing and loving son, brother, cousin, and friend to so many. We are heartbroken by his passing and ask for the space to grieve during this terribly difficult time. And Texas is a big state. There's a lot that goes on in Texas everywhere. Fort Worth itself, it has its shares. It has its share of problems. But the last thing you would think is that you're going out with some friends and you leave a bar and some guy randomly comes up to you and does the unthinkable. My friends, I am here to tell you that you must be careful, always looking over your shoulder. I don't even know how careful Wes could have been to prevent this. I don't really know. What I do know is that Wes did not deserve this. And now we want to find what's going to happen next. Why would this guy do such a thing? Because at the end of the day, Matthew Purdy, only 21 years old as well, we don't know what kind of mental state this guy was in. We don't know if his dad actually did pass away, was shot, was killed. We don't know all those details yet. Again, very developing story. And what we are trying to find is, what was this guy thinking in his head? Because he admits that I would have shot more people had I not ran out of bullets. So why? What was going on in his head that he would think that is the thing to do? Right? And so this is where we don't understand, because what kind of area is this? What kind of area is this that what are people thinking? One person even did an interview and he said, I maybe I have to be a little more feeling of safe around here. I'm paraphrasing, but he shared that, maybe I got to be a little more careful and not have my guard drop a little bit, because he said, normally I didn't have to worry about this, but now I have to rethink this, because at this university, things like this does not happen in this area. But one person did share that, being in the Fort Worth West 7th District, Their quote was, "I always hear gunshots." That's what shop workers are saying after the reaction to what happened to that Matthew Purdy did. And so, and again, this guy admitted that he shoots him 3 times. He already has a record for robbery. So this guy is not a great guy. I told you that there's going to be more that going to find out more about this as it's a developing case. But if he just pleads guilty and it's just like, okay, he pleads guilty, does he get life in prison? He randomly walks up to someone and takes his life. I mean, is there healing from that? Meaning that if he's capable of doing that at the age of 21, what was the rest of his future looking like? So we're going to wait to see more. I will definitely continue to share more of this. And so this is a developing story, my friends. And until next time, at the end of the day, we just want justice for Mr. Smith. You could see where his family said Wes was truly an amazing and loving son, brother, cousin, and friend to so many. We are heartbroken by his passing. And in the affidavit, it says he shot Wes after asking him if he knew his father who was assaulted in the past near 7th Street. And he approaches West, who he didn't know, and shooting him 3 times. That's in the affidavit. Rest in peace, Wes Smith, taken from this world way too soon. Have a great one and be careful out there.